Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we're going to dive into an important and complex topic, the situation of Muslims in Greece. This is a subject with deep historical roots and contemporary relevance, touching on issues of religion, culture, immigration, and social integration. In this video, we'll explore 5 key aspects of the Muslim experience in Greece. We'll start by looking at the historical spread of Islam in Greece, tracing its roots back to the Ottoman Empire. Then, we'll examine current demographics, including the number of Muslims in Greece today and the breakdown between Sunni and Shia populations. Our third section will focus on the daily lives of Muslims in Greece, exploring where they live and what kinds of work they do. Following that, we'll discuss some of the challenges faced by the Muslim community in Greece. Finally, we'll address the sensitive but important topic of Islamophobia in Greek society. Let us start with the Islamic history of Greece. The history of Islam in Greece is a fascinating journey that spans over 6 centuries. It all began in the late 14th century, when the Ottoman Empire started expanding into the Balkans. In 1354, the Ottomans captured their first European territory in Gallipoli, and from there they steadily advanced into Greek lands. The conquest of Thessaloniki in 1430 was a major turning point. This important Byzantine city fell to the Ottomans, marking the beginning of a significant Islamic presence in what's now modern Greece. But the real watershed moment came in 1453 with the fall of Constantinople, now Istanbul. This event effectively ended the Byzantine Empire and solidified Ottoman rule over much of Greece. Over the next century or so, the Ottomans gradually conquered most of the Greek mainland and islands. By the early 16th century, nearly all of Greece was under Ottoman control, except for a few Venetian-held islands. This prolonged period of Ottoman rule, lasting almost 400 years in some areas, led to the spread of Islam throughout the region. During this time, many Greeks converted to Islam. The reasons for conversion varied widely. Some converted voluntarily, seeing economic or social advantages in adopting the religion of the ruling class. Others converted under pressure or to avoid higher taxes levied on non-Muslims. There was also the practice of devshirme, where young Christian boys were taken from their families, converted to Islam, and trained for military or administrative service in the Ottoman Empire. It's important to note that while Islam became the religion of the rulers, the majority of Greeks maintained their Orthodox Christian faith. The Ottoman millet system allowed religious communities to maintain some autonomy in their internal affairs, which helped preserve Greek cultural and religious identity despite centuries of Ottoman rule. The Islamic influence during this period left lasting marks on Greek culture, architecture, and language. You can still see Ottoman-era mosques in various parts of Greece, particularly in northern Greece and some islands. Many Greek words, especially those related to everyday items and food, have Turkish origins dating from this time. The Greek War of Independence, which began in 1821, marked the beginning of the end for Ottoman rule in Greece. As Greece gradually gained its independence over the next century, many Muslims left for Ottoman territories. However, a significant Muslim population remained, particularly in the region of Western Thrace. The Treaty of Lausanne in 1923 formalized a population exchange between Greece and Turkey, with most Muslims in Greece being moved to Turkey and most Orthodox Christians in Turkey being moved to Greece. However, the Muslim population of Western Thrace was explicitly excluded from this exchange, which is why there's still a significant historical Muslim community in that region today. This long history has shaped the complex relationship between Islam and Greek society that we see today. It's a relationship marked by periods of coexistence, conflict, and ongoing negotiation of religious and cultural identities within the framework of the modern Greek state. When it comes to the current Muslim population in Greece, we're dealing with a bit of a statistical challenge. Greece, like many European countries, doesn't collect official data on religious affiliation in its census. This policy is meant to prevent discrimination, but it also makes it difficult to get precise numbers on religious demographics. That said, various estimates from researchers, international organizations, and the Greek government itself suggest that Muslims make up somewhere between 2% to 3% of the total Greek population. Given that Greece's total population is around 10.7 million, this would put the number of Muslims in Greece roughly between 200,000 and 300,000 people. Now, it's important to note that this Muslim population isn't homogeneous. It can be broadly divided into three main groups. First, there's the indigenous Muslim minority in Western Thrace, numbering about 100,000 to 120,000 people. This group is officially recognized by the Greek state under the terms of the 1923 Treaty of Lausanne. Second, there are Muslim immigrants who have arrived in Greece over the past few decades, primarily from countries like Pakistan, Bangladesh, Egypt, and various African nations. This group is estimated to be around 100,000 to 150,000 people. Third, there are Muslim refugees who have arrived more recently, mainly from Syria, Iraq, and Afghanistan. The numbers in this group fluctuate, but estimates suggest it's around 20,000 to 30,000 people. When it comes to the breakdown between Sunni and Shia Muslims, the vast majority of Muslims in Greece are Sunni. While exact percentages are hard to come by, it's estimated that over 95% of Muslims in Greece are Sunni. This high percentage of Sunnis is consistent with the countries of origin for most of Greece's Muslim population. The Shia population in Greece is very small, likely less than 5% of the total Muslim population. Most Shia Muslims in Greece are thought to be immigrants or refugees from countries with significant Shia populations, such as Iran or Iraq. It's worth noting that within the Sunni majority, there's still considerable diversity. The Muslims of Western Thrace, for instance, follow a more traditional, Turkish-influenced form of Sunni Islam. Many immigrant Muslims from South Asia might practice forms of Islam influenced by Sufi traditions. And of course, individual levels of religious observance can vary widely, just as with any religious group. Another important point is that the Muslim population in Greece has been growing in recent years. This growth is primarily due to immigration and higher birth rates among Muslim communities rather than conversions. The refugee crisis of 2015-2016 also led to an influx of Muslims, though many were in transit to other European countries. Despite this growth, Muslims remain a relatively small minority in Greece, a country that is predominantly Orthodox Christian. This demographic reality shapes many of the challenges and opportunities facing the Muslim community in Greece today. Remember, these numbers and percentages are estimates based on the best available data. The actual figures could be somewhat different, and they're likely changing over time as Greece's population continues to evolve. The daily lives of Muslims in Greece vary significantly depending on where they live, their ethnic background, and how long they or their families have been in the country. Let's break this down by looking at the main areas where Muslims are concentrated. First, let's talk about Western Thrace in northeastern Greece. This region, which includes the prefectures of Xanthi, Rhodope, and Evros, is home to the largest concentration of indigenous Muslims in Greece. These are mostly ethnic Turks, Pomaks, Slavic-speaking Muslims, and some Roma. In this area, you'll find a more established Muslim community with its own schools, mosques, and cultural institutions. Many Muslims in Western Thrace work in agriculture, tending to tobacco fields, which has been a traditional occupation in the region. Others run small businesses like shops or restaurants. In cities like Komotini and Xanthi, you'll find Muslim lawyers, doctors, and other professionals. The daily life here often revolves around both work and religious practices, with many attending Friday prayers at local mosques. Now, let's shift our focus to Athens and other urban centers. This is where you'll find most of the more recent Muslim immigrants and refugees. In Athens, many Muslims live in neighborhoods like Kypsili, Patisia, and Metaxorgeo. These areas have become known for their diversity, and you can often find halal butchers, ethnic grocery stores, and informal prayer rooms. In the cities, the occupations of Muslims are quite varied. Many work in construction, particularly those from countries like Pakistan and Bangladesh. Others find employment in the service industry, working in restaurants, hotels, or as cleaners. There's also a growing number of Muslim entrepreneurs starting their own businesses, from small convenience stores to tech startups. For many urban Muslims, especially recent arrivals, daily life can be challenging. They often work long hours, sometimes in multiple jobs, to make ends meet. Practicing their faith can be more difficult due to the lack of official mosques in many areas. Until recently, Athens was the only European capital without an official mosque, though one finally opened in 2020. It's also worth mentioning the situation on some Greek islands, particularly those close to Turkey like Kos, Lesvos, and Chios. These islands have seen an influx of Muslim refugees in recent years. Many of these individuals are in a state of limbo, living in refugee camps or temporary accommodations while their asylum applications are processed. Their daily activities are often limited, focused on meeting basic needs and navigating the asylum process. Regardless of location, many Muslims in Greece strive to maintain their religious practices. This includes daily prayers, observing Ramadan, and celebrating festivals like Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha. However, the extent to which they can do this often depends on their work situation and the availability of religious facilities in their area. Education is another important aspect of daily life for many Muslims in Greece. In Western Thrace, there are bilingual schools where Muslim children can study in both Greek and Turkish. In other parts of Greece, Muslim children typically attend regular Greek schools, which can sometimes lead to challenges in maintaining their cultural and religious identity. It's important to note that while these patterns exist, individual experiences can vary widely. Some Muslims in Greece are fully integrated into Greek society, speaking fluent Greek and participating in all aspects of Greek culture while maintaining their religious identity. Others may feel more isolated, primarily interacting within their own ethnic or religious community. Overall, the daily lives of Muslims in Greece reflect a complex interplay of religious practice, cultural traditions, economic realities, and the ongoing process of integration into Greek society. As Greece becomes increasingly diverse, these patterns continue to evolve. The Muslim community in Greece faces a number of significant challenges, which vary somewhat depending on whether we're talking about the established Muslim minority in Western Thrace or more recent immigrant and refugee populations. One of the most pressing issues is the lack of official recognition for Islam outside of Western Thrace. While the Muslims in Western Thrace have certain rights protected by the Treaty of Lausanne, including the right to their own religious institutions and education, these protections don't extend to Muslims in the rest of Greece. This has led to a shortage of mosques, Islamic schools, and other religious institutions in most parts of the country. The mosque situation in Athens is a prime example of this challenge. For decades, Athens was the only European capital without an official mosque. Muslims in the city had to resort to praying in makeshift mosques set up in apartments, basements, or warehouses. After years of delays and opposition, the first official mosque in Athens finally opened in 2020. However, with a capacity of only 350 people, it's insufficient for the city's Muslim population, estimated to be around 200,000. Another significant challenge is discrimination in various aspects of life. Some Muslims report facing difficulties in finding employment or housing due to their religious or ethnic background. This is particularly true for more recent immigrants and refugees. There have been instances of Muslims being denied jobs or apartments because of their names or appearance. Integration into Greek society is another complex issue. While many Muslims, especially those born in Greece or who have lived there for many years, are well integrated, others struggle with language barriers, cultural differences, and a sense of isolation from mainstream Greek society. This can be particularly challenging for children who may feel caught between two cultures. Education presents its own set of challenges. In Western Thrace, there are concerns about the quality of education in minority schools and the difficulties students face when transitioning to Greek universities. For Muslim immigrants elsewhere in Greece, ensuring their children receive an education that respects their religious and cultural background while preparing them for life in Greek society can be difficult. Legal status is a major issue for many Muslim immigrants and refugees. Those without proper documentation face constant uncertainty and limited access to services. Even those with legal status often have to navigate complex bureaucratic processes to maintain their right to stay in the country. The rise of far-right sentiments in Greece, as in many European countries, has led to increased instances of Islamophobia. Muslims have reported verbal abuse, discrimination, and occasionally physical attacks. Mosques and Muslim cemeteries have been vandalized. While these are not daily occurrences for most Muslims in Greece, they contribute to a sense of unease and marginalization. Economic challenges are also significant, particularly for recent immigrants and refugees. Many struggle with unemployment or underemployment, often working in low-paid, insecure jobs. The economic crisis that hit Greece particularly hard in the 2010s exacerbated these issues. For Muslim women who choose to wear hijab or other forms of Islamic dress, there can be additional challenges. Some report facing discrimination or hostile attitudes in public spaces or workplaces. Access to halal food can be difficult outside of areas with significant Muslim populations. While this might seem minor, it's an important aspect of daily life for many observant Muslims. Finally, there's the challenge of representation. Muslims are underrepresented in Greek politics, media, and other influential sectors of society. This can make it difficult for their concerns and perspectives to be heard and addressed at a national level. It's important to note that while these challenges are real and significant, there are also positive developments. Many Greeks are welcoming and supportive of their Muslim neighbors, and there are ongoing efforts at both governmental and grassroots levels to improve integration and combat discrimination. However, addressing these challenges remains a work in progress in Greek society. Islamophobia in Greece is a complex and sensitive issue that has become more prominent in recent years. While Greece has a long history of coexistence with Muslim populations, particularly in regions like Western Thrace, the country has also experienced increased tensions and instances of anti-Muslim sentiment, especially in the wake of the European migrant crisis and ongoing economic challenges. One of the main drivers of Islamophobia in Greece has been the rise of far-right political movements. Groups like Golden Dawn, which gained significant support during the economic crisis, have used anti-immigrant and anti-Muslim rhetoric as part of their political platform. While Golden Dawn has since been declared a criminal organization and its leaders imprisoned, the sentiments it stirred up haven't completely disappeared. There have been several high-profile incidents that highlight the issue of Islamophobia in Greece. For example, there have been cases of vandalism against mosques and Muslim cemeteries. In 2011, during protests against a government austerity bill, some demonstrators attacked immigrants, including Muslims, in central Athens. More recently, there have been reports of Muslim refugees facing hostility and sometimes violence on some Greek islands. The media also plays a role in shaping perceptions of Muslims in Greece. Some Greek media outlets have been criticized for sensationalist or biased reporting on issues related to Islam and Muslim immigrants, which can contribute to negative stereotypes and misunderstandings. However, it's important to note that Islamophobia in Greece isn't universal or unopposed. Many Greeks reject anti-Muslim sentiments, and there are numerous organizations working to combat Islamophobia and promote intercultural understanding. For instance, there are NGOs that provide support to Muslim refugees and immigrants and advocate for their rights. The Greek government has taken some steps to address Islamophobia and religious discrimination. In 2014, Greece passed an anti-racism law that criminalized incitement to violence or hatred on the basis of race, religion, or other factors. The government has also made efforts to improve integration of Muslim immigrants and refugees, though critics argue more needs to be done. The opening of the first official mosque in Athens in 2020, after years of delays, was seen as a positive step towards recognizing the rights of Muslims in Greece. However, the fact that it took so long and faced so much opposition also highlights the challenges that remain. Education is seen as a key tool in combating Islamophobia. There have been calls for more inclusive education that teaches about different religions and cultures, including Islam, to promote understanding and tolerance from a young age. It's worth noting that experiences of Islamophobia can vary widely, depending on factors like location, socioeconomic status, and how visibly a person presents as Muslim. Muslims in Western Thrace, who have been established in the region for generations, may face different challenges than recent immigrants in Athens or refugees on the islands. The refugee crisis has added another layer of complexity to this issue. While many Greeks have shown remarkable solidarity and compassion towards refugees, including Muslims, the prolonged nature of the crisis and its economic impact have also fueled anti-immigrant sentiments in some quarters. International organizations have also weighed in on this issue. The European Commission Against Racism and Intolerance, ECRI, has repeatedly called on Greece to do more to combat racism and intolerance, including Islamophobia. In conclusion, while Islamophobia is a real issue in Greece, it's not a simple or one-sided situation. There are ongoing struggles against anti-Muslim sentiment, but also efforts towards greater acceptance and integration. As Greece continues to grapple with issues of identity, immigration, and religious diversity, the status of its Muslim population remains a topic of significant social and political importance. That's it, dear brothers and sisters. A comprehensive overview of the situation of Muslims in Greece. We've journeyed through centuries of history, examined current demographics, explored daily life, and confronted some challenging issues facing the Muslim community today. I hope this video has given you a deeper understanding of this complex topic. Remember, the story of Muslims in Greece is still unfolding. It's a narrative of cultural integration, preservation of identity, and the ongoing evolution of Greek society. If you found this information valuable, please consider subscribing to my channel. I'm committed to bringing you more content that explores important social and cultural topics like this one. By subscribing, you'll stay updated on new videos that dive into similar thought-provoking subjects. Also, I'd love to hear your thoughts on this topic. Have you had any personal experiences related to this issue? Do you have any questions that weren't addressed in the video? Drop a comment below and let's keep this important conversation going. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Until next time, take care and keep learning. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.